What is up, movie lovers? Welcome back to the Film Frontline, your ultimate destination for everything cinema served with a side of absolute truth. It's your girl, and today we are diving headfirst into the dark, moody, and deeply chaotic world of a highly anticipated reunion. Yes, the Stark siblings are back together on screen. Sophie Turner and Kit Harington are trading the icy walls of Winterfell for a 15th century Gothic nightmare in their brand new horror flick, The Dreadful. Is it giving cinematic masterpiece, or did they completely fumble the bag? Grab your iced coffees, get comfortable, and let's spill the tea. All right, let's get right into the nitty-gritty of this breakdown. The Dreadful, directed by Natasha Kermani, throws us all the way back to the incredibly bleak era of the War of the Roses. We are following Anne, played by our queen, Sophie Turner, who is serving major, pious, dutiful wife energy. She's living on the absolute brink of poverty with her mother-in-law Morwyn, played by the legendary Marcia Gay Harden. They are basically scrimping, saving, and waiting for Anne's husband Seamus to come back from the war. But plot twist, Seamus doesn't come home. Instead, his childhood bestie, Jago, enter Kit Harington, shows up with the devastating news that Seamus is dead. And oh, by the way, Jago casually reveals he is a deserter. From here, the movie spirals into a gothic, bloody, religious, guilt-ridden fever dream. Morwyn goes full unhinged survival mode, totally willing to steal and commit acts of violence to thrive, dragging Anne down into her dark mess. Meanwhile, Jago is practically begging Anne to run away and start a new life with him. Let's talk about the aesthetic and industry implications first, because the vibes are undeniably immaculate. The cinematography is super eerie and dreamlike, totally nailing that oppressive, foggy, gothic horror atmosphere. The score hits all the right dark, lilting notes perfectly. If you're a hardcore cinema nerd, here is a major behind-the-scenes Easter egg. The director heavily borrowed the framework from the 1964 Japanese folk horror classic Onibaba. We're talking eerie masks, fierce survivalist themes, and deep psychological dread. Bringing a samurai-era Japanese folk story into a medieval British ghost setting is a massive, ambitious swing for the indie horror industry. But besties, we have to talk about the performances and the choices. The chemistry between Sophie and Kit is genuinely electric. I know some of you were probably side-eyeing the idea of Sansa and Jon Snow getting romantic, but when they share non-verbal moments, it actually completely works. However, the accents? An absolute tragic mess. Marcia and Kit went way too hard on the Old English dialect to the point where it becomes super distracting, and you might actually need to feel like you need subtitles. Sophie, iconic as ever, barely even tries to do the accent, which ironically makes her the only character we can clearly understand. Now, for the tea on the third act. The movie builds up this insane tension and introduces a massive plot twist involving a mysterious masked figure, but instead of sticking the landing, it completely unravels. The supernatural elements, which the whole movie hinges on, feel super rushed, and the ending is so abrupt it'll leave you screaming at your screen. They robbed Anne of her main character development, totally cutting her growth short, and honestly, we hate to see it. So, here is the Film Frontline official take. I am honestly so torn on The Dreadful. On one hand, the atmospheric horror, the stunning musical score, and Marcia Gay Harden acting totally out of her mind are top tier. It is a dark, beautiful mood board come to life. But as a narrative, it definitely drops the ball. We love seeing Sophie and Kit sharing the screen again. It hits right in the nostalgia feels and proves they have serious staying power. But Sophie's character, Anne, is so defined by the toxic, obsessive people around her that we never truly get to see her step into her own girl boss power. It's a classic case of aesthetic over substance. If you're a die-hard horror fan or just want to support our Game of Thrones alumni, it is absolutely worth a watch for the visual poetry alone. Just don't go in expecting a perfectly tied-up ending, because you will be left wanting so much more. All right, frontliners, that's a wrap on today's deep dive. I want to hear from you. If you were trapped in a 15th century Gothic nightmare, would you team up with your unhinged mother-in-law to survive? Or would you run away with the brooding deserter? Drop your survival strategies in the comments below. And if you loved this breakdown, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, like this video, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode of the Film Frontline. Until next time, stay fabulous and keep watching.